What's up, Relay? Years ago, we named this show Relay, like a running race with a hand up and a group. It's a group. And we have a visitor, a guest on our show. Welcome, Gabby Hentemann. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Good. We met months ago as part of Road to the Trials, and it was super fun having you on. Lots of hilarity ensued, but also conversation of like interesting topics. So we thought it'd be fun to have you on. And you mentioned that sometimes you listen to Relay, so it's great to have you here.
Yeah, I'm in the Sandy Boy universe. I listen to all the different podcasts, so I was pretty excited to be asked as a guest.
This is tangential to running, but can we give a shout out to your friend and teammate, Alyssa, who we knew she was going to be good at Hyrox. When she came on Road to the Trials, Alyssa McElhaney, is that how you say your last name? Yes. Maybe you can give more back. She was like, I think we're like, what's next after qualifying for the trials? And she's like, I'm really inspired by Hyrox. I think I'm going to do it some more. And then I don't know about you. For me, it's been 3 months of her video coming up and me feeling very lazy. Like I need to be lifting much more. It was one of those moments where you're like, okay, I'll make a running analogy. It was like when Shalane won New York, I was like, we had all known in Oregon, she was super fit. We were like, if she doesn't finish like first or second, like what is going on in this world? So then Alyssa has been crushing Hyrox, and I'm like, this woman must crush. And then she won.
She won, and she also texted. I texted her, and she responded today. She's the fastest female debut ever. I'm pretty
Love
sure.
that.
Ever. Which reminds me that runners rock. I really
Yes.
I mean, I really want this to be something where runners come out on top, right? I'm like, come on. And yeah, she's quite good at these events. I don't know. Erica, what would you think of Hyrox?
I
Just
mean, I
pushing
definitely
weight.
think people with a running background have a significant advantage because that seems to be the hardest thing for people who just get into it from like non-running backgrounds is like you got to go rip a K in between everything. But like
Yeah.
if you're a distance runner, you're like, this is actually less than I usually do. And like
Hmm.
I'm used to having like very little recovery. So as long as you're like doing your gym stuff, I feel like if you're a distance runner bored in search of a conquest, maybe try High Rocks. And lifting is fun. So, like,
Yeah.
I feel like it would be really fun. And everyone I know that's like done a High Rocks event said it was one of the most fun things they've ever done.
Our mutual friend, Mary Johnson, we'll give her a shout out. It's a marathon on Instagram. She loves the gym. And so it was not a surprise when she ran. Wait, did she do Hyrox then CIM or CIM then Hyrox? I think it was Hyrox last summer. And you were like, yeah, definitely gonna like if someone's posting over 50% of their videos lifting, then they're our prime candidates.
Part of me likes seeing the runners enter that space and crush it,
Hmm.
but I don't know. I don't want it to be like I feel like the hybrid athletes just get so poo-pooed on already. Like
Fair.
to the point where
Oh,
I actually don't like it. I feel bad when people are like, "Oh, you're gonna buy carbon plated shoes and run a 10-minute mile." And it's like, okay, we gotta like leave them alone a bit. I'm kind of sick of it. So part of me kind of wants them to just have their space and like not get
hmm.
poo-pooed on, you know?
They're an endangered species. We'll look out for them.
The Hyrox athletes would have loved Tallahassee. That course was for people who get bored doing just one thing.
It would have been a lot of
Yeah.
crop tops, a lot of like
Yeah.
showing off those abs.
That's pretty normal for the marathon, anyways.
That's true. That's true. Okay, I want to know if people were more excited about Keely Hodgkinson setting a record or the fact that she got to use the throne. Apparently, she got to sit on a throne that they had created last year for the Keely Classic that she was injured for.
Mm.
So then they apparently shipped the throne. I don't know. How do you feel as a pro athlete being like, I better win this race because I have a throne waiting for me after the race?
I
Seems
mean,
like,
that's fun, but like, I was more intrigued by the whole like her birthday or like
Yep.
she was born on the day that that record was set and it was like, "Oh, like this is some like mystical thing I can get into."
I was like, with the whole Lunar New Year too, I'm like, there's
Mhm.
some weird energy about.
Yeah, like, it was, like, truly meant to be.
I'm also a big, like, it needs to be exactly the day. You know, when people are like, no way, my birthday's this 10 days before yours. And you're like,
Hmm.
Yeah.
what's the-
They're like, "Oh my god, we're twins." It's like, we're 7 years apart and 3
Yeah.
months away. Like, what are
yeah,
you
like,
talking about?
Gabby, Erica doesn't like to engage in discussion of past doping as much as I do. So
Oh,
No.
you
that's
maybe you're
like,
gonna have to
that's all
or
I
like
want to talk
sketchy
about.
records that I'm like, get these sketchy records out of here. The 800 is one where we're like, women's 800, we need some new, fresh top
Yeah.
leaderboards.
I think it's like for Erica, I don't want to speak for you, but it's from what I've heard, it's different when you're in a position where it's like these things actually affect her day-to-day life.
Yeah.
So it's like maybe I just
Yeah,
don't want to think about it and talk about it.
yeah.
But for someone like me, like I could go on the internet and be like, I think so and so's doping, and like no one cares what I think. So and I do think it's safe to kind of keep your lip zipped because you just don't know. You don't
You
know.
just don't
But
know.
it is very interesting.
Yeah, and I don't have a burner account to just, like, accuse people
Exactly.
and submit anonymous complaints.
Sometimes I'm my own burner account and then I like cause mayhem and I had just have to. Last week I went on a tear about how much I disliked the brand Satisfy because they were making fun of a friend of mine who
Oh,
leads another apparel brand. And I was like, these people who wear this brand are like try hard wannabe cool kids. And then the internet appropriately came after me. And I was like, all right,
yeah.
I
I
don't know
mean,
what I was looking
you
at there.
follow me, you know my stories. I'm always like cracking up. And it's like always joking, except when it's like kind of not. But
Yeah.
even like I posted that the character alignment chart I posted the other day
Yeah.
where it
How
was
do you
like the
decide
law.
when it goes in a story versus a post? Because I think this one deserved a post. There was a
See,
lot
I
going on here. There was two
there was a
vectors and
lot. I go back and forth.
yeah.
But sometimes I don't want to deal with the comments because people also take it too seriously. And like I just don't want to deal with the comments. And I also actually don't like when I get the doping comments or the like, we should ban Kenya. And I'm like, this is not the vibe I was going for. Like I was
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Now we're
making a
way
joke.
off. Yeah, you get a lot of comments and a lot of engagement. You collaborated with us on one or two posts on Road to the Trials, and I'll open my phone and be like, "What is that comment? Oh, that's for one of Gabby's." Like, I have no idea who this guy is or where they're
They're
coming from.
mostly good, but I'll get some drifters where I'm like, whoa there, slow your roll.
I wanted to go from a 800 performance to the women's 100-mile world record that happened in Las Vegas. Were you following this at all?
I saw the result, and I saw it was, like, her average was, like, absolutely bonkers for 100 miles. Like, I prob I don't know, I feel like if I trained for it, I could for sure make it, like, 50. But I was like,
Yeah.
100? No. I don't think I could do that in my wildest dreams.
Yeah, Ashley Paulson, 12:19. And this is where like things get weird, like 17-minute record. So you're like, whoa. It definitely bends your brain when you're like, well, that's not that hard of a pace. But then you keep going and keep going. Like, how would you be in that second 6 hours? I don't know.
I wouldn't be okay in the first 6 hours. Like, I truly think I, like, would tap out after I think 4 is probably, like, my max.
I think you would hit like the I guess it's not long enough to get like sleep issues, but that I don't know. I just think I would hallucinate and stop by accident, even if I was trying not to.
Right.
I also want to hype up America's newest 207 man.
This crazy.
I'm going to try to interview him later this week. He is just shopping time, which I don't know, like 218, 211, 207.
That's such a jump that I genuinely am like, so what went terribly wrong in the first two?
Well, yeah. Or just were you just super under control. Like
I mean, like,
Ethan
respectfully, I
Shuley.
have absolutely no room to talk as someone
True.
who, like, ran an 11-minute PB as, like, a
Yeah.
pro. It's like, "What did you do in the first one?" It's like, "Chill, it was not my best work."
Yeah.
There's a lot to figure
I
out in the
know.
marathon, and, like, it's hard to, like, judge someone's, like, higher end or, like, what their ceiling in the marathon will be off of their, like, I would say even their first 2, because 'cause you're like it's such a big event, it's, like, such a wild thing to jump into, and there's so much to figure out that, like, give everyone, like, 3 or 4 before you decide if they're, like, good at the marathon or not.
I like that. I like 3 or 4.
Yeah. 'Cause, like, first one
I
is the first one, you have no idea what to expect. The second one, maybe you learned something, maybe you didn't. Third one, it's
maybe
like,
you
okay,
didn't.
maybe you're kind of figuring out, but also, like, time-wise, now you're, like, maybe a couple years into your marathon training, which, like, just doing that type of training for any amount of time, but, like, the more time you have, it, like, compounds. So, like, if you're
Mhm.
like, "Oh, I wanna, like, do this marathon thing," and you've been training for 6 months and you did well, it's like, "Cool." Do that same thing for another 2 years and, like, you're a whole different athlete. So I think he just,
I'm
like, has
loving
been
this pep
doing it
talk
now.
for Gabby. Like, this is
I'm
our
taking
way of
this in.
saying,
No,
yeah,
Gabby is
like,
about to run 2:25 next year.
well, yes, both. It's the sky's the limit, and like pressure is low. There, like, we need to normalize. you, people need to come over to the reporters and be like, "Oh, by the way, I learned nothing at yesterday's race. Like, I'd already learned those lessons. Those are lessons I knew. I just messed it up. Okay, moving on." As opposed to like, "Well, you always
And
learn
normalize saying,
something
like,
new."
"Give me a minute." People are like, "Oh,
Yeah,
like, so when are you gonna PB again?" It's like, "Can you, like, let me train and, like, let me cook?" Like, I can't do this, like, every day.
It is crazy seeing, like, people getting interviewed minutes after something that you spent, what, like, 6 months training for, and
Mhm.
they, for some reason, expect you to know, yeah, like, what's next for you. It's like, I'm trying to find a porta potty, like, I'm
Right.
not sure.
You're like, "Well, first I'd like to sit down, and
Yeah.
then also, like, there's a reason my calendar is blank because I did not think beyond this moment."
Mhm. I appreciate when someone can just go, like, "It went bad," and then period.
yeah.
And not like,
Oh,
"Oh, I went out too hard," which, like, these are all you do bad because something went wrong, obviously, but it's nice when they just lead with like, "Yeah, it wasn't good," and
yeah.
that's it.
Right. I mean,
It's a
sometimes
relief.
that's, like, the entire story. It's like, "What happened?" Like, "Nothing." It was just bad.
It
Failure to
was a
launch.
marathon? Like, I
Yeah.
don't know.
There were 26 ways it could go wrong, and
There's a
most of
lot
them
more than 26,
on,
but yeah,
yeah.
more or less.
All right, I like this. Yeah, like Gabby, no pressure to step forward. Just maybe step and see which direction it ends up.
Is this related to marathons in the future? Is this related to the podcast?
Yeah, it's like a life philosophy. Yeah, exactly. Wait, I wanted to make sure that people, I think we told this story somewhere else. When we were first having you on, you and I had never met Gabby, and I was like, any questions for these people? And someone was like, if Gabby is interested in, it feels like the right moment to ask her about her eating disorder backstory, like you could find them out. And then you were like, hang on, we can't go any further in this podcast with discussing how I put my running on pause. So that was fun. People can go listen to our interview with Road to the Trials. But we had connected because you had a hilarious take this month. You found a way to talk about eating disorder recovery in somewhat of a light way. What is your goal there when you're like, I'm going to post this stuff, but I'm going to have it be fun, but also it's going to be real?
Try to, and I think I had mentioned this before. First of all, if anyone asks me about college, I can't even go on without being like it's this elephant in the room. I wanna just deal with it because it's important to know. Um, but yeah, I try and talk about it in a light way, and I think I had said this before. I'm never making light eating disorders are serious. There's nothing funny about actually being in the thick of it and being in a time where you're alone and feel isolated and you're dealing with that. And I take it very seriously. And talk to people and take it very seriously. But I think when we make it too serious and we feel ashamed and embarrassed, then it's just putting this thing back in the closet with our other skeletons and it's not getting us anywhere. So I think it's okay to, I wouldn't post something like, haha, like love it when you're anorexic. That, like, you don't want to be insensitive, but it's important to be like, hey, here's a photo where I had an eating disorder and I look not great. And here's a photo where you might not know I had an eating disorder and I did. And the caption, I try to be, okay, this is serious. This is something you should deal with, but also you can throw in a little humor so people know if you have an eating disorder or you're dealing with something like that, you're not evil. It's just a thing you're dealing with, and that's okay.
But I love the line of like, "You're not evil because you're dealing with this," because as someone who's, like, obviously been in, competitive distance running, it's really, really easy to get really angry at people who are dealing with this. And it is something that like they're suffering from, but at the same time, like it's not doping, but everyone knows like you may or may not get like a little speed boost from it. So you get like viscerally angry at people because you're like, I'm mad at you for not taking care of yourself, but I'm also mad at you for running so fast because like
Mhm. Mhm.
it feels like cheating, even though, like, it's literally like a disease and, like, it's, like, detrimental to their overall health, but you're like, as an athlete, you're like, "This feels like you're using, like, an illegal bat in baseball."
Mm.
Like, it just, like, it feels wrong, so you get mad, and you're, like, mad at this person when it's like, tone
But
it
you're
down a little
totally right,
bit.
like, and that's another, I'm glad you brought that up because that's another topic that I don't like when people dance around. The truth is, weight is a factor. That's what sucks. If it wasn't, that would be great. We'd be like, "Guys, let's stop but the one of the issues is, and I remember talking to my coach about this, in the fall. I was saying, whether this is a healthy thought process or not, I genuinely believe I could have run 2 minutes faster or whatever if I were 5 to 8 pounds lighter. Is that even true? Who knows? We'll never know. Is that a healthy thought? No, not really. But is that, like, around and in the environment and it might be true? Yes, but now I can at least be at the point where I can look at that logically and go, "That still might be true, but it doesn't, I just don't, it doesn't matter as much to me rather than being healthy and being happy." And that's a
Hmm.
hard spot to get to.
For sure. I
Seriously.
mean, it's a lot easier to, like, see that and be like, if I was 5 pounds lighter, I could run, like, X number of minutes faster, but conversely, it's like, "Okay, but I feel better as I am right now, so I just need to be strong enough to, like,
Mhm.
run with the body I have," and I feel like
Mhm.
that keeps me in a good space, is, like, it doesn't matter, like, how like, what I weigh right now, I need to, like, have the strength to, like, work with what I have because like, this is me. This is, like, what I'm doing. So, like, if this feels like, quote, unquote, "too much," then, like, I'm just not hitting the gym hard enough. Like, I'm
Uh-huh.
not
Oh,
you know
okay.
what I mean? I'm not fueling enough. Like, I should be more than capable of, like, using the body that I have.
Mhm. I like that too. I like that outlook.
Don't you think it boggles my mind sometimes because the body is complex, and so it's like certain amount of people will go through these, like you're saying, performance accelerations, and then it stalls. So, it's easy to talk about like a bone stress injury or this or that, but it's also just sometimes they've been running their body in a depleted state, and the performance just tapers off, and you're like, oh,
And also, not to sound like woo woo, but if you're genuinely not having fun because maybe you're at a weight that you can maintain without getting injured, but you're waking up and going to bed thinking about your next meal and how, like, that's just not even enjoyable at that point. So maybe it is helping your performance and you can stay healthy, but it's just, I don't know. And everyone has to decide that for themselves. That's why it's challenging, but at what cost? Like, are you having fun in your day-to-day life?
yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's so real. I mean, like, because like when the race is over, like say you run that PB, it's like, and then what? Like
Literally.
literally, and then
Especially the marathon where it's like you do
yeah.
2 a year. You're doing this for a total of like 5 hours of time. What? It's insane. Huh?
Yeah.
I'm curious when they like a month being eating disorder awareness month. It's like all these things. Like, I mean, I joke when it's a day when they're like women in sport day. I'm like, hey, ladies, you get one day.
Yeah, we get one. Yeah.
But like, how does these months of awareness strike you? Is your sense of like, there's positive and negatives? I just don't know how to read them.
Yeah, I like one of my issues is I actually hate a lot of the eating disorder posts. So that was I posted my most recent post, and what's funny is that it's such a circular conversation, so I try and be careful. It's almost like you don't want to talk about it too much. Like you don't want to make it your whole personality because one, that's just not good for my headspace. But two, there's certain people when they go, "Hey, you can recover and it doesn't have to be this thing that haunts you forever." And you go, "Yeah." And then they have a whole account about their recovery and every week they're posting like it's been 7 years and today I struggle. And you're like, well, okay, maybe this isn't super helpful. And I'm not trying to like rant or like everyone processes things in their own way, but I think especially when I was in that place, seeing people who have full on accounts that were like, Gabby's dot recovering. And every week, every day they're posting about something they're struggling with. It makes you think, oh, maybe this doesn't end. Um, so I think having a whole month is good and bad. I think it's really important to put resources out there that are professionals and when you talk about your own experience, to specify that it's your personal experience. Um, because even I'll get DMs all the time and I'm always start with like, hey, really brave of you to say this. That takes a lot. Just want to start with, you should work with professionals. You should reach out right now. I can help you do that. There's so many resources, but I'm not a professional. So when someone's posting, hey, this is how long it took me to recover, or this is how long it took me to get my period back, or gain this much weight, or if you're doing this, it's not healthy. But if you see these things that someone's doing, it feels very like people just self-claiming that they can see an eating disorder and they know how to solve it. And I never want to do that because I just think that's a very slippery slope and can be kind of dangerous.
Yeah, these stories are complex, but I that's sort of profound to me. If we talk about them every day, then it is kind of your identity. And you're trying to say
Mhm.
like it's not the elephant in the room, but also doesn't need to be it's not you. It's not like a
Mhm.
whole being. It's not like who you are on this earth. Oh. Well, I just am happy that it's talked about in more constructive ways. I mean, I grew up running years ago where it was just sort of like not talked about in helpful ways. I'm a big supporter of Wildwood Running in Portland, where they do these clinics. They work with coaches. They almost try to, I think of it as getting a body of knowledge out there so that young runners see it coming and they're kind of like, hey, 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 like be aware of all these things so that you don't like immediately just go to the path of, "Oh, I have a novel idea. I'm just gonna not eat." It's like we it's calling it out as like it might be an impulse,
I
but
think
just
young is the key
contextualizing.
word there too. And like when I'm talking about this, I almost categorize I really do think it should be different messaging for young kids versus I'm talking about someone
Mm,
who's in the thick of it.
yeah.
Because there are things like I posted about this before, and I want to be clear about this. I think telling young girls, hey, if you go down this path, you are going to mess with your fertility, possibly. It can lead to bone stress injuries. It can lead to all these side effects. It can do at times irreversible damage. That's a great message for young kids What I struggle with is when you're dealing with it or you're dealing with a friend or a teammate and you're trying to get through to someone who they're sick. At the end of the day, you're sick and you're telling them, hey, the two reasons you should deal with this is one, you're not going to be able to have kids, and two, it's going to stunt your running. And for me personally, like I said, that wasn't helpful because I was like, it's like you're going up to an alcoholic and saying, hey, your family will never forgive you. You've already done the damage. You'll never get a job. Like, this is just, there are things you've done to your body that can never be reversed, but you should quit. They're not, why would you get sober? You're already telling yourself you can live in this eating disorder and that you're going to find a way to deal with it and keep you don't want to actually deal with the recovery. So if someone's coming up to you and saying, hey, just want to let you know, you're probably never going to be able to have kids now. And your running's not going to last as long as it could have if you didn't do this. Well, then I'm just going to ride it till the wheels fall off. You just told me it's hopeless. You know what I mean? So that frustrates me. That's great. That's great. And it's true information for preventative for young kids, young athletes. But if you're trying to reach through to someone who is already really hard to reach, don't tell them there's no point in recovering. That's not helpful at all.
Some of the people sending those messages are not even thinking, yeah, they don't understand that psychology. I train with a woman, Keely Henninger, who's spoken about her eating disorder. She's now a doctor. She's doing research in the space, but on runs, she'll be like, we'll be discussing different messaging or stuff. And she's like, oh, that definitely wouldn't have helped me. Like that message I would have been like, oh, I'll just be the outlier. I'll like make it around that
Exactly.
pothole.
Yeah.
And on the other side of that is like some sick performances. Like I'm going to be the exception to the rule, which I think is so honest and doesn't get talked about enough. Whew. Well, this is a helpful conversation, I think.
Yeah. Sorry for the heaviness. And I'm not trying to like speak for everyone that's ever had an eating disorder. I just think a general rule of thumb, you don't go to someone who's dealing with it and say there's no point. You've already done the damage. It's like, well, and I had shared this on Road to the Trials, but the main messaging I was getting in college, whether it be from staff, from teammates, from the internet, was you're not going to be able to have kids anymore and your running is going to suffer. And I was like, okay, so I'm 22, I'm not having kids, because I'm 22 and my running's going well. So seems like green flag there, green flag there. And I had shared this, that what actually pushed me to the edge was the running was fine. I was just like, I graduate in a year and then what happens when I have to eat lunch in front of a coworker? Or what happens when I move in with my boyfriend and I can't say, oh, I ate before this, or do all these little things that you're doing to try and hide and mask this thing you're dealing with. That scared me way more. The running for me, I was like, I'll always run for fun. I'm not going to compete. I don't care. But what happens when my mom wants to get brunch and I don't want to order egg whites and like it's just all these things that are consuming your life.
I just watched the new reality TV thing on America's Next Top Model because I was like
Ah,
obsessed with that growing up. And like in either episode 1 or 2, because it's all about just like all the awful things they did, which like I was probably 10 during like those
mhm.
early seasons when they were like actually truly crazy. And I don't remember them actually like weighing the girls and like telling us what they weighed when they aired the show, but they showed it in the documentary. And, like, that was absolutely insane because I vividly remember the girls fighting on the show, like, each other, being like, "She doesn't eat enough. She has an eating disorder. This is, like, so dumb. Like, she's getting praised for being so skinny, but it's only because she, like, literally doesn't eat." And then the girls would go into their confessional and be like, "I don't know what their problem is. I don't have an eating disorder, blah, blah, blah." And then they weighed all of them, and all of them were, like, horrifyingly thin. But,
No.
like, because the show was framed in such a way where it was like, "No, no, no, she's skinny, they're huge," and you're like, "These women are so tall and, like, they weigh as much as like me. I'm
Mhm.
5'2", and like I didn't understand that when I was 10. I like
Mm.
in watching that now at like 30, I'm like, "Oh my god." Like that's insane. But like that's like what we grew up with was like that's how it was framed. So like you know what I mean? Like you don't know like how warped your worldview is because like I feel like it's carried through because my idea of like what skinny is definitely started back then because you're like there are like plenty of people who are like very small and like I probably would not call them small because like I grew up with that. Like women on TV who were like 5'10", 115 pounds,
That's
literally
very self-aware of you, though. That's
fainting.
good that you can, like, at least recognize that.
Like I know I am not I like just like the way I see people is definitely like warped.
It's
But
For
like
like
sure.
informed by that.
yeah, so, like, it's always room to grow, and also just, like, seeing it, like, now as an adult, you're like, "Holy shit, like, that's not okay. That's, like, not good for anybody."
I gotta say too, though, like living in this world of high caliber athletes and just people that like being immersed in the running world as someone who can't run the way they used to and just navigating what my body's doing in my 40s, like I gotta tell you, like it's hard still as a woman. And I don't know if what I can't speak for men, but like I mean, I was at an event yesterday with all these professional runners and I had my big sweatshirt on. I was very self-conscious, and I've never felt like that self-conscious, but it's kind of just ingrained in us a little bit, and I hate it. Somehow I've slid by without ever, falling into a real eating disorder, but I think about it, man. I think, man, if you want to change your body right now, Lindsay, you have got to focus on what you eat, and you've got to, restrict some things that you don't wanna restrict, and I'm unwilling to do it because I'm so scared of what my brain will do if I become obsessed with it, you know? Um,
I have a question for you too, and you don't I mean, you can cut this out if this is too personal. But is it challenging? Because I actually talked to my mom about this a bit, and she's a bit older than you, obviously, but being in motherhood and is the GLP-1 craze and,
oh,
like, some of
everywhere.
this, like, messaging towards women that are basically older than 30, does that wear on you? Because I see that, and I already am, like, stressed that I will have to deal with that.
I'm exhausted by it, honestly. I think it's very all over my neighborhood. It's all over everywhere. I see all over my ads on Instagram.
Mhm.
And it's I'm like, gosh, what a first world problem. Like an overused term for sure, but I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's everywhere. And then I see the flip side of it and I'm like, okay, so I have this badge of honor because if I lose weight, I didn't do it with a GLP-1. You know what I mean? Um, but it's everywhere. And talk about motherhood, the amount of tummy tucks that are everywhere is crazy too. And I'm out here at the pool every summer with I carried 4 babies in this belly body. And I mean, I struggle with it. I wish I didn't, but I do. And a lot of times I struggled with like wondering if people perceived like, gosh, she works out so much, she runs so much. Why isn't she look in more better,
Oh.
in better shape? Like I've always thought that when I'm at the pool because I've never had this like super tiny little body. And so yeah, I just it's really hard. And I have friends on GLP-1s that like it was life-changing for them. They really needed to lose weight and it's been really great for them and they are doing really well and I'm really happy for them. But it is hard because I'm like, well, what if? Well, what if I did take it? It would it be that much easier? But I love
Mhm.
food. I love enjoying food and I do not want that to go away. Like it's a really fun experience to eat delicious food, you know? So, um yeah, I mean, I I'm in it right now.
No,
It's
thanks for
it's hard.
sharing. I was just curious because, I mean, like, it is just being shoved in our faces, so I was curious if that was something that and not that GLP-1s are the devil. I mean, yeah, they've helped a lot of people, but and I also appreciate you saying it's a first world problem because that's something I think that kept me from getting help for a while too, where it's like, oh, people have real mental illnesses. This is like, oh, you're not eating enough. You're literally like, you're wasting food. That is the most first world problem. But it doesn't make that any less valid for you for, I don't know, that messaging is just everywhere. And I think it's challenging to see or have friends talking, like, even just kind of like that Mean Girls, scene where they're like, "Oh, my pores are," like, you can just lift this and tuck this and take this, and it's exhausting.
I think one of the reasons I was able to get by without it affecting me so much is that I always was in shape. I always was working out. So, like, I was able to keep my body at a place where, like, I felt, like, comfortable in it, you know? Um, and so times like these when I can't exercise as much and my body has changed because I'm 42, um, yeah, we focus on it more. So you get by maybe because you work out 6, 7 days a week and you keep it in check, you know, if that's what you wanna call it. So I'm sure that there's a lot of athletes that that's a bigger part of it than they're probably willing to admit or accept.
I think too, and Erica, I wanna ask you because 'cause you're around a lot more pro marathoners than I ever have been around, but just based off of social media and your personal experience, with the taper week or the taper weeks, there was so much of a buildup, especially because 'cause I'm higher mileage, where people were like, "Oh, get ready. Like, it's gonna feel horrible, you're gonna think you're injured, you're gonna be losing your mind." And I really was getting kind of anxious about it, and it came around and I was like, I ate the same amount, I felt better, like, it was fine, and I see some of that and I'm like, I don't know, I would like to hear your thoughts on that because 'cause I'm like, I don't know if that's a super healthy thing either to be, "Oh, I'm stressed about eating this much," and it's like, aren't you proud of the work you just I was excited. I was like, "You mean I get to go for a run that's 45 minutes? That's awesome."
Yeah. The taper crazies are so real. It is the worst part of the marathon build. Like, I will take peak week over taper week every time because it's less about like, at least for me, and like a lot of my like marathoning friends, it's less about, you know, I'm eating a lot but like running less. Like that is not what's really causing the stress. It's the like going from like literally the most intense training you've ever done to like a fraction of that. You are just so full of energy. And like when you're not like releasing it by like training hard because your body's adapted to like your current training level. So when you dial that back so suddenly for that like taper week, you are literally just like vibrating. And then
Okay. That makes more sense
yeah,
because
no, like you
sometimes
literally
it
have
gives,
so
like,
much energy. It's like
okay.
you feel like if you're over caffeinated, like you almost feel sick. You're like your body's vibrating. You can't sit still. And it's like, but I need to rest. So like what's gonna happen with all this energy? And it's like all of your nightmares are just spinning in your head. You're like, I have too much energy to sleep. So like a week out from Houston before I had that big run, I had like 3 nights where I like slept like 4 or 5 hours and I was like having
Oh, that's awful.
and I was like, "What on earth is wrong with me?" And I like went to like talk to my coach and he was like, "Oh, you're just nervous." And I was like, "I don't get nervous." And he's like, you're about to run a marathon. I think you're just nervous. You're tapering, like go to bed." And then I was fine. But like it took him like just looking me in the eye and being like, "I think you're nervous," for me to be like, "Huh. Like is that why like my body has been vibrating and I like have insomnia?" And he's like, "Yes." And I was like, "Oh, never mind."
I guess, like, the big race, it makes more sense, but I guess sometimes I would see that on social media and get a little like, "Are you projecting that?" You know what I mean? Where
Yeah,
it's
no,
like,
you are
is
so
it a
nervous for the
little.
big day that you're like,
Yeah.
any tiny thing that like feels different, you're like, I am getting sick. And it's like,
Mhm.
you're not. It's like, I have a stress fracture. It's like, relax. But no, that last week, I just think it's so much excess energy that, like, already makes you feel anxious on top of then, like, the normal race, like, nervousness, and it all gets like it has to manifest some way, and, like, eventually, if you have the right tools, the right people around you, it'll manifest into, like, excitement and you'll be okay, but there's for sure a lot of times where just, like, all of those, like, uneasy feelings manifest as, like, you know, I'm sick, I'm hurt. You start to kind of build this backstory in case you have a bad day because it's really scary to just like show up to
Oh,
the start line and be like, no, I'm like the fittest I've ever been. I'm super excited. I'm going to crush it. And then, like, what if you don't? And you told everyone you were going to. So, like, I think there's a lot going on mentally.
The other part is as you go on this you're climbing this mountain where each week you're almost falling. For me, it was like falling in love with fatigue. You'd be like, I push so hard and I'm like, you just get used to that cycle. And that makes you, at its worst moments, I guess, feel like very proud and worthy. And so then you suddenly take that away and you're like, oh, wait, I don't get to do that. I mean, the workouts can still be kind of like kind of quick, but you're like, I would run these like 15 milers midweek and you just be like, oh, today's going to be an awesome day. And so then you're like, when I run 8, like, and then your brain can go to like, I know I'm taking the reward that I would want today, and I'm placing it on that date in 2 weeks, now in 10 days, now in 7 days, and you're like, "Oh, man, that day better pay off because 'cause I've, like, invested a lot in it." It can be a bunch of things all at once, like you're saying.
Yeah. And it's just like it's scary to stop doing hard things because like that is literally what you're doing when you're training is like getting used to doing something really hard every few days. So like that gives you a lot of confidence whether you know it or not. And then suddenly you haven't done anything that hard in over 3 days and you're like, I don't remember how to hurt anymore. Like, I actually
that's a
like,
good
that's what
point.
freaks me out the most is, like, you get so used to, like, going into the pain cave, like, getting like Peter said, getting used to the fatigue, and all of a sudden you're, like, refreshed, and you've been doing a bunch of easy runs, and you're like, "Honestly, like, I don't know how to be uncomfortable anymore." Like, I forget how much running sucked because I've been running so easy.
You're, like, too happy. You've healed. You're like,
Literally.
"Oh, no."
I have this memory from going out to brunch with a college friend like, Saturday before Boston, and I'm like, "Oh, I just wanna go get something." So I stood up, and I was like, "Whoa, I feel weird." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, my, like, legs don't hurt at
They
all."
don't hurt.
Like
That's so
You, like,
funny.
actually stood up so fast.
I just stood up, I sprung up, like, my knee was fine. You're like, "What is going on?" Race went well, but, like, it was right on that edge
Good.
of, like, gonna freak out.
Wait,
Yeah.
Erica, though, tell us when you were only getting those 4 to 5 hours of sleep a night, like, because I think we freak out about when we don't get enough sleep because we all know sleep is king. Like, that is, like, the way you recover from hard training. Like, how did you get out of your head about, like, "Oh, I'm not sleeping"?
For better or worse, if it's within a week of the race, nothing matters. I'm like
Agree, agree.
like
Even if it's not true, I tell myself agree,
right. Like,
1000%.
if we're inside, like, 10 days, I'm like, the only thing that could go wrong is if I get, like, seriously injured or, like, seriously ill. So, like,
Mhm.
I could not sleep all week. Honestly, I probably would run pretty bad, but, like, I'm not thinking that way because 'cause I'm like, what realistically could impact you that close to the race? And it's, like, not a lot of things. Like, if you've been, like, diligent in, like, your preparation. So, like, running is like a total sum game. It's not just, like, a couple days here and there. It's like, what have you been up to for the last 6 months? And if those 6 months were pretty good, 3 bad days is not gonna tank your entire race. So, like, I will say day 3, I was getting, like, irritable because, like, that's just, like, not good for you,
Yeah.
like, brain-wise to not sleep that much. But yeah. No, I just tell myself it doesn't matter. There's a lot of, like,
So good.
lying to yourself the week of the
Yeah.
race.
I mean, that's like that's literally the event.
That's, like,
Like,
the
the
entire marathon.
conversations I'm having in my head during every long run are, like, so scary.
Yeah. No, but it's such, like, a fake it till you make it thing in a good way, because it's, like, if you keep whether you feel good or not, if you just, like, mentally convince yourself to, like, do that next mile, all of a sudden, you are doing it, and now it goes from, like, a lie to, like, a truth, so it's just, like, really intense manifestation.
So true. So good. I love it. We're all just lying to ourselves.
I love it. I'm excited. It makes me actually excited for like race
With
week.
good
I'm like,
cause.
yes, let's
Yes.
go. Yeah. But also like if people are too calm, then I'm like, oh, are you really excited? Are you really actually excited for like the potential, or are you just aiming for something you totally know? Because I would do that. I would do the cycle of like, I could just shoot for this PR, and that would be, I definitely can grab that. But you're like, no, we got to let that go.
But where's
That's
the
like,
fun in that? Like,
yeah.
also, don't be chill about it. Too many people are way too chill about it.
Yeah, the people are,
Normalize being like psychotic. I think
Yes.
it's fun. This is like, I'm actually going to do this week. I don't know when this podcast will come out, but
Tomorrow.
I mentioned I'm running grandma's, and I told my boyfriend, I was like, I have this whole idea, like I'm going to like either dress up as a grandma, I'm going to make this weird video. And he was like, okay. And I'm like, why are we not normalizing doing weird race announcements? That's
Big-
so fun.
Yes.
Like
Please do
marathons,
that.
you get 2 a year, and people will be like, headed back to Boston. That's fun and all, but it's like, make a video, make a riddle, like blow my
Like a
mind.
riddle. We'll work on it.
big reveal
Yeah.
party. I like it.
I love
Yeah,
it.
gender, like you turn it's the cake, they put the
Yeah.
wine glass down and you turn and it says Chicago or New York, something like that.
So good.
That would be cute.
Be fun.
We'll work on it.
Let's wrap up with my favorite way to wrap up when I'm present on calls is we're going to send the listeners off with something we've watched, listened to, read, ingested that we think is worth ingesting.
Oh, can we take off
Ingesting
that
is
last
always
stipulation?
yeah.
Stipulation.
Ew, gross.
I
It
only
sounds
ingest
gross.
precision fuel and hydration. No.
Sponsored this
Ingesting.
podcast.
What have you watched or listened
that a
to
gross
recently?
word?
Read? I didn't eat the book.
Digesting. Should I have said digesting?
I'm just going to set aside all eating metaphors for a moment. I know we've been talking a lot about the emotions around eating in this podcast.
Listen, I say the wrong word sometimes. Just this morning, Emma was like, Lindsay, I'm only telling you this because you say this word a lot. It's niche. It's not niche. It's niche.
Oh.
And I was like, thank
Niche.
you. I'm so glad. And you can leave this in the episode, Emma. I'm so glad you tell me these things because since I was 10 years old, I've been notorious for saying
I would
the
give you a
wrong words.
1-star review for mispronouncing something like that.
Really?
I came here for vocab
I feel like that's like
pronunciation
a pet
cues.
peeve that I was unaware of until recently.
The
But
word
there's like
niche?
no, just mispronouncing things that like
Just
I
like-
think are common
I don't know,
pronunciation.
man. Listen, I try.
Unless you're
I
doing
really
it
tried.
on purpose, then it's like if it's a bit, I'll let it go.
Just trying to
Okay, Erica, I'm still
Troll.
scarred from like a year into my podcast, which is like a decade ago, when some woman messaged me and she was like, you really need to learn how to say collegiate.
She messaged you that?
Yeah, and I was like, what do you
But
mean?
how
I
were
don't-
you saying it?
Yeah,
I don't even
curious.
know. I still don't know that I was saying it
Collegiate?
wrong.
Collegiate?
How do you say it? Everybody say it.
Collegiate.
Well, you biased
Collegiate.
us. Yeah.
Did I, say
will
it right?
say
I still
it
don't know.
irritates me, and it's so small. But when people say woman or women, like the wrong,
Use it in
one
the
is
wrong.
plural and one is singular, and I don't know why it really gets on my nerves. And then another one, and this one, it sometimes is okay, but when men refer not specific to like sports or athletics to women as females, I don't know why it just gives me like a full body ick.
An ick.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like, how
it's
are
gross.
you females doing?
How are you
Ew.
females?
What? Are you my
what
doctor?
are the females up to? You're my
Yeah.
doctor.
We hate that.
That's not chill at all. That's just not chill.
Okay,
Not
so
chill.
I'm just saying, friends, be kind. My sisters make so much fun of me for this. Like, I just always accidentally use wrong words, and it's never intentional.
I like to say I did my 1 hour in the ER shift. It's not watching the pit. It's I have just committed to my hour a week.
You're like
And-
shadowing.
Yes, I'm shadowing. I'm not high on the list, but like I'm somewhere on the list of people they would call up. The best thing that's occurred to coincide with my watching of The Pit is thank you to the Threads algorithm gods that like Threads very much understands I want all of the takes and the nuances. And then, like there's a lot of medical professionals who comment on the show and like they'll clip like they'll highlight different scenes. So there were some pretty traumatic scenes this week, as always, and they point out with their medical knowledge all the accuracies and the nuances. And I'm like, yes, give me all of the takes. So that's what
That's neat.
yeah.
I've just been binging Love is Blind, and I'm really sad because I thought that we were going to get through the weddings, and now I have to wait till Wednesday, and I'm all caught up, and I'm pissed off. And I can't stand the soccer guy. Can't stand him.
Lindsay, I'm just so pleased that you talked about a show as opposed to like another novel you tore through that none of us have read that we're all like, you're the best reader on the call. I get it. So praise.
I'm about to finish
also,
a book, though. I'm trying to finish it before my trip
That's
to
next
Napa
week.
on Thursday because I don't want to take this book with me. And I'm going to do
You see,
Kindle
Gabby, this is
on
what
the
she does.
trip.
She's like, because it's really thick and it's a tomb of a story. She just
But I hope
flexes
Gabby
on
and
us.
Erica have a book recommendation, and then I can take it with me. But I gotta go.
I don't know if it would be considered, I don't know if I'd recommend it, but it's an old book that I cannot for the life of me, I don't think I've ever read it in its entirety, but I just remember like excerpts from it. And I think maybe HBO or Netflix, one of them, just did a like mini series that's supposed to be an incredible adaptation of Lord of the Flies. And I was like, oh,
Oh,
I can't remember actually reading the book like cover to cover. So I started that and it's
Whoa.
unhinged.
wow.
Yeah. It's like a thing people refer to and you're like, have you read it? And it's like, well, no, I didn't.
Yeah, it's
You're
like I was like trying to describe to my boyfriend what it is. I was like, yeah, I remember like a lot of chatting about it. And I know it's like culturally relevant, even though like it's an older book because people just make references to it all the time. But I'm like, I think it's middle school boys stranded on an island and like chaos ensues is like the short, summary of the entire book. And it starts crazy.
all right, I got to get back
Okay,
into it.
yeah.
I will
Honestly,
you
when you
can tell
said
it's, like, old, like, the way it's written, you're like, this is not from the 2000s," but it is, like, really interesting, and I'm, like, I really wanted to read the book before watching the show because like, the book's always, like, has more details and is, like, way more intense, but yeah, it's wild.
when you said you're reading an old book and you're just reading excerpts, I thought you were like legit gonna say the Bible. I was like, wow.
No,
Okay,
I feel
I'll
like there's been, like, English classes where you, like, had, like, excerpts from it or,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
people would, like, reference it, but I don't think I've ever, like, read it myself, so
How
I'm on
long
that
is it?
journey. Uh, it's not super long. It's on Kindle, so I don't have, like,
Nice.
a
She's like,
physical
"Oh, I
gauge
don't
of
read
how
those
big it
poor
is.
person, yeah.
Those
Yeah.
paperbacks.
No.
Just kidding, I love
So
a good
fun.
paperback.
That's a good suggestion, though. I wanna find out what that show is.
Yeah, it's supposed to be really good, but I just, like I've read The Hunger Games before I watched the movies. I still love the
Same.
movies, but I almost ruined Christmas because of the books. Because my mom only bought me the first one, and I finished it on Christmas Eve and, like, threw a fit that I didn't have the second one, and she was like, "Erica, like, the bookstore is closed, it's Christmas Eve," and I was like, "So we can go get it tomorrow," and she's like, "No, it's Christmas Day," and
No.
I was like, "Christmas is canceled. Everyone shut up. Everyone go to bed. Like, no one's talking until we go get book 2."
That's so funny. How did Lindsay say it? "What are you indigesting?" And she was like
Ingesting.
ingesting.
What are you consuming?
My indigestion right now is being caused by, actually not really reading, which I had a goal of 12 books for 2026, and I'm gonna start that soon and just backload it, but I'm in the middle of watching it's a movie, it's called Eternity, and I was really excited to see it. It's newer, I think it's Apple TV, but it's with Miles Teller and 2 other actors that are really good, but it's basically you when you die, you go to this, like, train station, and you choose your eternity. And there's like millions of eternities you can go to, like one in the mountains, one at the beach, one where there's one that's like smoker's eternity. Like it's just like literally any niche thing you like. And Miles Teller, as an old man, passes away and then comes back as his young self. And he's kind of waiting for his wife to die because she was pretty old and sick so that they can go to the same eternity. And she dies and shows up at the train station. And he's like, sweet, let's like pick where we want to go. And then it turns out her first husband, who died in the war, had been waiting the whole time. So it's like these, like, she has to
No.
decide, I know, who to spend eternity with because it's this person she was married to for years and years, and this person who it's like, what could have been? It's like, it's very lighthearted, but I like it. It's cute. So if you need something lighthearted in these
That sounds cute.
this storm you have, yeah, it's sweet.
I mean, the
Good
simple answer is
recommendation.
both.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
what I said.
I'm like, they're both in love with you. Just take everyone
Just-
wherever you want to go.
Yeah, that's what yeah. But the men are feuding, of course, so they won't do that. Yeah.
Oh man, we didn't even touch on. We'll have to come back with our favorite Olympic moments next week because man, there was so many like incredible things that I was
Yeah.
like, I wonder. It's not all about running, but I was trying to draw some. I was like, how does this relate to the sport that I love? It's just super cool. But we'll leave that for another week. Thanks for being here, friends. Gabby, thanks so much for joining us. We'll have you again. This has been super fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me.